problem. Right? So, depending on your script, you can allow more freedom. If you have no script, you can say this is how it should be done. Now it's different. I have no way to solve the problem. So this means, for instance, in the Netherlands, when the railway system breaks down, and it breaks down occasionally, the railway company has buses, and they immediately put buses to take over. Right? So this is a script in order to still allow people to travel and to kind of rely. It always takes half an hour extra, but you will still be brought to the location you want to go. So, the methodology. And in a way you could say this is already the steps that we are going to take during the weeks, the coming weeks. And you will find back these steps in other words on the website in Milano that I referred to before. So, the methodology. You identify the different actors involved. And we have to be careful about labels. On the website in Milano, we make a difference between users and stakeholders. In a way you could say there's many different people all involved in the service. Like we already tried to mention who all is involved in the service of having driver's licenses. It's the driver, it's the other people on the road, it's the driving instructor, it's the examiner, and. So we have to identify all these different people that are involved in the service. So this means one of the first things for you to do is to find out. And then you have to define the requirements for the service. The requirements for the service from the point of view of all these different stakeholders. So the procedure of getting a driver's license, what does it mean for the driving student, what does it mean for the instructor, what does it mean for the examiner, what does it mean for the civil servant at the town hall who issues the driving license, what does it mean for the people in the road, could they rely on somebody, could they, why, and so the part of that, for instance, is that the car that's used by the driving instructor is marked. In my country it's marked with an L from lesson, which means when we see such a car we take a little step back, we say, oh, he's still learning, so let's be a little bit careful. Let's go around have some space, right? Because we are not sure. So this is all part of the whole script. And you have to define the whole organizational structure. So all the people involved, or the institutes involved. And you have to define the possible scenarios. And see what can happen and who is doing what. Who is responsible for certain activities. So for instance, in the driver's license issue, who is going to officially ask for the exam? Is it the student or is it the instructor? In my country, in the Netherlands, it's the instructor. I cannot just go and say I want to do a driving exam. Nobody would. The system doesn't allow me this. Only the driving instructor can say, here I have a student who I think should be fit to do an exam. Right? So this is part of the whole scenario. And it sets the roles. And I know in certain other countries there's no driving instructor involved. You can just say, I was in the car of my brother or of my father, I've seen enough. I'm now going to ask for permission to do an exam. It's a different type of culture, a different type of roles here. And this is the final thing that, again, you will have to do. You have to represent the services, to illustrate services so that people know. So this could include timetables. This could include a poster. This could include a leaflet. This could include a website. But certainly physical elements. So last year some of your colleagues provided posters to put in universities in order to make people aware of a certain service and of the rules of the service. Right? So it's all part of the things. And it's including steps. Now, one of the things that you should be aware of is that the people that use the services, so the final customers, they should be involved. So you should talk to them. If you are going to set up a system for, let me say, changing the structure of the restaurant, you should certainly talk to the people who go to the restaurant to have dinner. And you should, so this is consultation, you should find out how they experience the current restaurant and what they don't like and what they would like, what their wishes and so on. So just talking to the person who wants to redesign, to have a restaurant redesigned is not enough. Go to the other stakeholders as well. And you'll find out that people have strong views. Most of the types of services that you are designing for, there is already something in place. Maybe it's not really designed, but there is some type of service. Or maybe there's a clear lack of that service, but people have strong views about it. People have wishes. People have needs. People are very clear about, I like this, I don't like this. So you have to go there. So, ask tourists about the bus in Alghero. That's an interesting example. And actually, I could say some of what we have been doing in this class before changed the way. Because, well, I didn't check this time, but last year there was somewhere close to the harbor, there was now some kind of little office where you can buy tickets, right, for the bus. 2 years ago, there was not. You could only buy tickets in the airport and in the flower shop. And the flower shop was often closed. And my students, your colleagues, they looked at that and they redesigned the way to provide services in the bus here. And the bus company didn't take most of the design, but they actually installed a little kind of a container, which was a small office where you now can buy tickets, right? It's still there? Yeah. So you can see this, and this is because of the complaints that the students collected. That's interesting. So if you would like to find out, you should especially not only ask the people who live in Alghero, who know that they can go to the flower shop at certain times. But ask tourists, or like people like me, who only are here occasionally, and when I want to take the bus, I have no clue how to get the bus ticket. And the bus driver couldn't tell me because he didn't speak English. Right? So ask all this type of people that might have the most problem with the current situation. Now, asking the customers is not something that everybody is happy about. So if, for instance, the government is trying to provide services and you are designing the services and you are telling them, I want to talk to some of your customers, they say, oh, some customers will talk to you, and this is the people who always complain. They are never happy, it's never good enough. Right? So, the client of your service design might not be happy if you talk to his customers. On the other hand, if you talk to the customers, they will tell you, I'm not going to speak to you, it doesn't help anything. I already complained so many times and they never listen, so they would never do anything with my remarks. Yeah? So you have a problem here on both sides. And you have to solve it, because you need to find out how people experience. Right? And your client, the client of your design, thinks that some people don't care and some people are just complaining about everything. And the people you talk to it might say, it doesn't make sense. If I spend time filling in your questions, nothing will ever happen. So, and this is the problem you have to solve. You have to continue asking. So, just about what type of stakeholders there are. Many more than you can see at first sight. So there are lots of service professionals already in the world that are there. So there are advisors. There are people whose task it is, or who have taken the role to advise about how to use services. And you will find out if new services get installed, there might be installed advisors at the start. So it might be if a new system for selling bus tickets is installed, it might be that for the first 2 or 3 months there are people telling the customers for the bus, the tickets can now be bought over there, so they will just point there. Or they might go to schools and tell, well, it's good for you to know, most of you will take the bus to Sasselin tonight, and now there's a different way to buy your tickets, right? So, and then there's navigators. You will find them in railway stations and on airports, people who are just there looking around for anybody who needs help. When I'm in Amsterdam at Schiphol Airport, there's always navigators. They actually have a uniform, and I can immediately go there and they tell me where to go. They know it's their role to help me find my way in a complex situation. Right? And in my university at Amsterdam, in a way it's the same. We have a desk, and when you enter the university, you pass the desk, and the people at the desk are just there to tell you where to go. It's their only role to help people find their way. Right? And then we have brokers. So there are people who actually make a living of helping you to get services. So there are brokers for buying houses or selling houses. And in a way, the person who is having the second-hand furniture shop also is a broker. Right? And in that way you could say eBay takes the service of a broker. eBay is a way to connect people who want to buy and people who want to sell. Right? So this is a broker. So brokers are parts of services, and it's in a way a special role. And if you design your service right, brokers and advisors and navigators are professionals. They have a professional role to help solve problems of the different users. So in many cases of service design, these are categories of services that you should consider as an addition. So it's the person who provides the service, it's the person who gets the service, and then there might be a role for advisors or navigators and or brokers. Okay? Wherever you are talking about. So interestingly, if you are going to a restaurant in the Netherlands, in my country, when you enter a restaurant, you look around, you find a nice table, you go there, you sit down. If you are going to a restaurant in the United States, you enter the restaurant, it says, wait to be seated. And then you go there, somebody comes to you, asks how many people, smoking or not smoking, and they walk you to the table. So these are navigators, right?